Hey up lads and lasses, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to change the brake fluid on your Honda Monkey. It's not as hard as you think. Let's have it.
So you wanna ride bikes, stay strong, flex up, like Johnny, a Yorkshire lad, like Johnny, a Johnny, 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 Johnny.
Right team, let's jump straight into it. Brake fluid changing is not as hard as you think. When I first started riding motorcycles, a lot of my mates say I just leave it to the professionals. I don't get involved with the brake fluid. It's just too dangerous to start playing with, and it's actually not. It's really easy. It's easy to test whether it's been done properly as well, and it's very simple. You don't actually need much tools to do it. The main thing you're gonna have to get yourself is some .4 brake fluid. I use the Castrol. Don't cheap out on this. Don't buy any unknown brands. Just buy the good stuff, because you don't want this squashing when you actually are putting your lines. I haven't changed the brake fluid on this Monkey bike since it was bought in 2019, so it's very discoloured. It is a little bit spongy, and I'll show you the difference in the colour when we take it out. The other thing you're going to need is a Posi screwdriver. This is just to get the cap off the reservoir on the handlebars. Really simple. An 8mm spanner just to open up the bleed points on the calipers itself. Not hard whatsoever either. And the main thing that I bought to make life easier was this. This is a £13 brake vacuum kit. So you get these off Amazon, not much at all. And what these allow you to do is when you've opened that bleeding point on the caliper, you can just suck all the brake fluid out. The one thing though, I'm going to give you a bit of advice before you even skip this video is don't let the reservoirs run dry. If you start pulling air into them, that's when you start getting an airlock. So you've got to keep constant pressure up with the vacuum and just keep topping up that reservoir as you go along. But I'll show you in this video. Let's get to it. So the first thing you got to do is prep your bike. You don't want to damage your bike at the end of the day. For me, that is leveling the bike off. I've taken the exhaust off the bottom of the bike. I've put it on a pit stand so it's nice and level. The next thing I've done is I've just got a dust sheet and an old rag, and I've just covered the bike. This .4 stuff that you're using is like corrosive. It just takes the paint straight off your bike. So yeah, put a rag underneath the reservoir itself, put a dust sheet over most of the bike possible, and then just leave your caliper down here available. So the next thing we're going to do is just open up the reservoir. It shouldn't pop out at you or anything like that. There should be, I think, a rubber seal in here holding it down. Well, let's get some of the screws out and let's have a look inside, shall we? So there you go. There's your little rubber dam that's inside, creating a seal. Take that off nice and steady. So in there is all your old brake fluid. Happy days. So on your caliper you've got this here. This is the brake nipple for topping it up. It's literally just a rubber cap, as you can see. Should be nice and clean. All you need is an 8mm spanner, 8. You pop that on there, and the idea is you twist it and that opens it up. So let's get the vacuum ready first. So inside your brake vacuum kit you've got one of these. This is basically just a pot with a rubber o-ring and also a lid, and with 2 outlets. One pulls the brake fluid in and this one sucks air out. So I'll show you how that gets set up now. So there we have it, sports fans. You basically pump this handle, create a negative pressure, which you'll see go up once we get it onto the caliper itself. All the brake fluid gets drained into here, and you'll see the colour change once we put the .4 in there, and you'll see how it gets affected by moisture. So on the Bonneville I was able just to put the tube on it straight away, but this bleed nipple is a lot smaller than the Bonneville. But in the actual kit itself you get a load of adapters which should hopefully fit on there. The A doesn't fit, the B I don't think it's going to fit, the C might fit, no, and then we've got a D. The D is probably going to be the best one, to be honest, I think. Let's try squeeze that on. And there we go, we've got a tight seal with the D. And then what we've got to put on then is a little retaining piece. That goes in. And put your hose pipe on there. Because I've realised I'm on camera as well, I've got to sit on the bike to do this, I am going to put the longer hose onto this side, like that. So I should be able to sit on the bike and fill it up. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you both bits, so just bear with me. So all you need to do is crack the nut 1/4 of a turn, make sure the tyre doesn't spin, Then we'll twist this around as it goes. And you just need to keep pulling, keep a negative pressure and topping up your reservoir, that's all. It's starting to come a bit more clearer now. So now that's running quite clear, we're just going to shut it off. And that there is your old brake fluid. The colour of it's not right. The colour should be clear yellow if you check this out now. So let's look at the difference in colours. This is the old stuff. As you can see, the new stuff's coming through because it's lightened it up at the bottom a little bit. But it should be a nice clear yellow. And that's a nice browny orange, so you can tell it's just too old. So you just want to do a final top up. Mine's pretty much full enough. I'm just going to show you. Just fill it up like that. As you can see, a bit of liquids ran down the side, so I'll just wipe that straight up. So if it does leak like it does, just wipe it straight up. And that's your first caliper done. And all you've got to do to prime it is pull this in. And you'll see it starts to get a bit stiff after a while. It might be a bit slack at first, but you've got to pump it to create that pressure inside. And there we have it, that's absolutely solid now, squeezing that. So yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare when you're trying to film it and you've only got one pair of hands. It's easy if you have two people, one person on the bike actually pouring in the .4 and one person pumping, and you don't have a camera trying to catch it all. But honestly, it's really simple. Find the right attachment for the actual nipple itself, open it up, start pumping, keep a negative pressure, keep topping up the .4 in the reservoir. Honestly, it's so simple. Don't be like put off by people saying, oh, it's a hard job to do. It's not, it's quite easy, honestly. So now all that's left to do, now you've done your first break, is just to clean the actual rubber dam. I don't like to get all the old stuff in there, any moisture. So I give that a good wipe and then actually just squeeze back in. You might get a bit of leakage when you put it on. Let's hope not. I think I've got the level just right there. Give it all a good clean, and then you've got your plastic that goes on top of there. I'll give that a wipe too. And then it's basically just put your lid back on in the right way and then just screw it down. It's that simple. Get both them screws in. And that's basically your front brake done. Get that nice and tight. Don't over tighten one screw too much, then try tighten the other one. Try and tighten them evenly. Just give your front brake a few squeezes and that's absolutely got it. So the back reservoir is a bit harder to get hold of. If you've got the stock exhaust, it goes over the side here. It's underneath there. So what there is there's a bolt underneath that just takes a 10mm socket. You can undo and you should be able to just slide that straight out. So we're just going to take the lid off the filler cap here, the reservoir, and then you've got another rubber bung in there, and that comes straight out. Bang. Put them safely to one side, and that's where we're going to be filling up the .4. So excuse the dodgy angle, I'm trying to get it best for you that I can. The only problem I find is these just don't stand up, so I'm going to try and put it up here for you. So I'm hoping that wedge is in there, you can see it changing. So first things first, let's open up the bleed nipple. So you might need to turn this rubber bung as you open up the bleed nipple, and in true British weather style, it's one of the warmest days and it started raining. How lovely is that? Now you can see I'm not really bothered with any cloths at the moment, but we are going to stick one directly under that. There we have it. So let's get pumping, shall we? Get your .4 open. And then we're going to fill this as it starts to go. Keep it under some negative pressure. Now this one isn't too bad, I suppose, compared to the other one. And really you shouldn't be doing this in the rain, but I am, because I've got no other time to do it. You're going to rush through it. The good thing is we've got a hose pipe ban at the moment as well, so the rain's kind of quite handy. But we might just have to sacrifice this and carry on in a minute. Now I think that that's pretty much enough brake fluid that's come out of there. We're just going to go for one more. I'm going to just top it up one more time. So you want to run it through, make sure that it is definitely clean. I'm going to close that off. And there we have it. Look at that. Now we're just going to put the lid back on quickly. Get rid of all the moisture on this cap. Stick that back in. And then just screw the lid back on. And then we're going to hide from the rain for a little bit and we'll finish it up in a short while. Right team, so we hid away from the rain for a while, but we've got the majority of the work done now. We just need to tidy the bike up, and I'll show you how we do that. So to tidy the bike up, it's this simple. We just basically pull the cap off there, the rubber bung, and then we just close the thing, and that's that done. So there we have our old brake fluid, and that can just sit down there. We'll empty that out into an appropriate container. The next thing we've got to do is just basically just put the screw back in there and bolt it up. All you need to do now is tighten up this bolt here, which is 10mm, as I said before. Now that that's on, you can see the level is a bit high still. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bleed a little bit more out of the brake caliper, and then we'll check the level afterwards. So there we have it. We've just lowered the level a tiny bit, and all we've got to do now is pump that back brake. So it should get harder after a couple of pumps, which it is doing. Take that off. And we don't want to knock the bike off the stand. There we go, that's solid now. Very little movement in there. So that is your brake fluid done. So there we have it, sports fans. It's as simple as that. The video might have made it look a bit harder due to the filming and the nature of it, but I tell you now, if I didn't have to film this and if it didn't start raining, I'd have been done in 20 minutes with that, maybe less. The hardest bit is just, you know, pumping and pouring at the same time. So if you've got someone who can help you out with that, do. But yeah, other than that, that's basically how you change your brake fluid. Just make sure when you go riding that you have got a good pull on them brakes, and make sure they're not spongy, and make sure that they do stop. Take it slow on the roads first, try them nice and slowly, and then obviously give them a bit more of a test when you're going down a hill. But yeah, I don't think you'll have any problems with that. Get one of them kits, they honestly are fantastic to use. But other than that, if you'd like this video, if it helps you out, give us a like, give us a subscribe, drop us a comment, that helps the algorithm too, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have it.